episode number 56, the longest running Stadia podcast this side of Google Maps. You're joining myself, Chris, alongside my lovely co-host to my left, your right, my left, the techie teacher himself, Mr. Tom.
You're breathtaking. How are we all doing, everyone? Thank you very much for tuning into this episode again. And how are you doing, Chris?
I'm doing wonderful. It's been a crazy week, and I'm looking forward to getting into it all. But before we do that, below your mighty self, we have the man of many pixels, guitars on the wall, feeling a little bit better, Mr. Richie.
Yeah, all I can say is I'm still alive.
Still alive.
That's good. If we went live, and I would be very impressed if a corpse managed to get on Discord, headphones on, clothed at least. A skeleton.
I'm actually a zombie.
I mean, it is Halloween. Stranger things have happened. If you are new to the show, ladies and gentlemen, this is, like I said, a weekly gaming podcast where we round up all the Stadia stories and the gaming news for your listening or viewing content pleasure, depending on what format you wish to view us in, or listen to us in fact. If you are new, we do appreciate a like down below and a subscribe to the channel. It keeps you in the loop all things Sounds of Stadia, such as our Let's Play series that runs every Saturday with myself playing Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom. And again, I'll give you a weekly recap of what happened this week if you've not checked it out yet. I forgot to save my progress, or the game did not save my progress, and I went back a week to do a whole boss fight over again, and it was painful and probably delightful at the same time for the viewing audience. So, lessons learned. Lessons learned, kids. Always save your work.
What you get a kick out of.
Whether it's Microsoft Word or it's a game or it's something in life, always save your work best you can. We also followed up, Tom. We donned our baking chef's hats this past Thursday. And thanks to our wonderful friends over at Court Sink and High Tea Frog Games, we were able to play Cake Bash. Crazy Gâteau Royale, as they worded it. We had many cake puns. What was your takeaway from that, Tom? Your dessert takeaway from playing Cake Bash this past Thursday?
It's left me with a real sweet tooth, Chris. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. Absolute blast that game was. Just everything from like the little niche touches they added to the mini games. The mini games themselves were just incredible. And we had a great involvement from the community as well. We had a bunch of people jumping in with us. And we had some really good times.
Yeah, it was it was just crazy fun. It was very similar in a similar vein to like Get Packed and I don't want to say most battle royales, but just wacky crazy fun with
party games like
Mario Party, Crash Bash. You mentioned it was very similar to loads of little mini games, added sprinkles.
I feel it's going to be one of them staple games that we're just occasionally going to pull out the pantry on the first of the evening.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We certainly are. Check the bacon. There's like crazy stuff happens. Like you get attacked by a pigeon. There's fork knife was one of our favorite ones, where essentially the cake gets like attacked by multiple forks, and you've got to survive to be the last cake standing, I guess. Just wacky, crazy fun. Plenty of puns. So if you've not checked that out, head over to our YouTube channel for the video. It's up now, and we had a crazy time with it. Loads of fun. We'll no doubt be playing that again. But that brings it up for a quick, sharp, snappy housekeeping, gentlemen, because this week, it's been, like you said, Tom, one breathtaking week for Stadia news. What a time to be a Stadia fan. But before we do get into that, we should probably address, Richie, do you want to give us the quick retcon ritual before we do get into the bulk of the news? Because I listened to last week's episode back, and there must be a good 10 plus accounts where we may have a slight dig or a joke towards the first topic of the week. Do you want to give us a run?
A lot of our criticisms, I think, were fair last week.
They were.
However,
last week.
However, that is very much last week. Although I think the biggest, we can get into it when we get into the news section, but basically we were shitting all over the Cyberpunk release date last week.
Yeah. What are you going to do? Yeah, I think there's about 10 times, especially you and me, Tom, we threw a few jokes around of going, when's it coming? When's it coming? But anyway, busy week, as we mentioned. Thank you, everyone, for stopping by. And here we go, Tom, with
the super sexy special Stadia story segment, a.k.a. The News.
And what a news week it is, Tom.
It's a cracker.
And Richie. A crazy, crazy news week. And if you've not seen it already, we got the mighty special reveal as part of Cyberpunk's Night City Wire reveal. I think it was episode 4 this past week.
Yes.
They come out and give you kind of like a brief showcase. It's hosted by Holly Bennett, I believe, fellow Brit. and she basically talks through things. But yeah, surprise tease at the beginning of the 20 or so minute video, and then at the end, jump back to Stadia. Very, very proud to announce that it is coming in date, ladies and gentlemen, to Google Stadia, November 19th. No downloads, no updates. CD Projekt Red, biggest follow-up game to The Witcher 3, and we can play it just like that in all its glory.
Is it day in date or day and date?
I don't know, day in date. Both
I always thought day
the
and
same.
date.
Basically, long story short, it's coming out at 8 a.m. Pacific time on the 19th of November. There you go.
So that's like our traditional, 4 o'clock slot, give or take.
It's about 4 p.m. Yes, 4 p.m. drop.
But gentlemen, we've been saying it. We're getting it. What a time to be a Stadia fan, and the way the narrative switches on social media already is crazy, right? Like, I know obviously all the Stadia fans are going mental for this kind of stuff, but just because of how crazy it really is, that where we've been begging for it, we've been criticizing them for it, we've been saying who needs to do the work to get this done? Is it the Stadia team? Is it CD Projekt Red with all of their crunch going on and everything? And obviously they've been working on this game for like 6-7 years, and we were only ever told by the end of 2020, but they've done it. It is going to be here by the end of 2020, and more importantly, the 19th of November. Now, I'll go through. I want to go through everybody's individual journeys with this news rolling out, because I was driving back from work, and I think Tom, you put in our chat group like it's happening and shit's happening. It's real.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Go to Twitter and everything's popping up, because obviously we didn't expect this, because it happened within the Cyberpunk Nightwire episode. It wasn't part of a blog. It wasn't the Stadia account. It was very much just baked into the global Nightwire video that goes out to everybody. My personal take on it is it's given me a very difficult dilemma. So if you rewind a few episodes back, my dilemma was, when this game comes out on other platforms, what do I do? Do I wait to play it on Stadia when we finally get a date? Or do I just bite the bullet, buy it on my PS4 and just play it and enjoy it and be part of the narrative and the story that everyone's going to be, no doubt, reviewing and talking about? It's going to be all over social media, GIFs, memes, reviews, everything like that, all the excitement that comes with a new game launch. And my concern was, do I wait to play it on Stadia? Do I buy? That was my dilemma. My dilemma now, gentlemen, is I have a PlayStation 5 coming on the 19th of November. Do I just leave it in its box and play this on Stadia? Because my hype levels yesterday, Friday, went through the roof. Thinking like all of a sudden I was like tuned in with it. I was checking videos out. I watched the Nightwire video fully back, the cars, the engines, the world, Night City, and the fact that I can play it on the go, on my phone, in like the convenience that Stadia's offered me. I just can't wait. My hype levels went through the roof on this. So I'll swing it over to Tom next for your take on this one before we go to Richie. What's your take on all this breaking news as such?
So I think it's incredible. First of all, like I'm so hyped now for the game actually coming to Stadia. Like it's always been one of the defining titles for me to get me into the platform. And originally back when they announced Stadia was coming out, we were told by the time it comes out, Cyberpunk is going to be coming as soon as it lands. It will be on Stadia. That was back in April. I want to say sometime in April. Delays happened, and then we were just told end of the year. We heard that narrative repeated again and again and again. End of the year, and we joked about
coming
it.
Soon.
Yeah, hashtag coming soon, right? We kept joking about it. We just kept thinking, oh yeah, but when's it going to be? Is it going to be even out before 2077 actually lands, right? Wow, what a surprise that it is actually, albeit through the crunch and so on, they're going to hit November 19th. That shifts the narrative for Stadia in such a massive way, because we talked about how long are you willing to wait for a game before you actually jump into it. Cyberpunk is probably going to be the first definitive title that sort of explodes onto the next gen platforms. It was sort of also the only game that I was really interested in getting next gen. So from my perspective, I'm now not interested in ordering a PS5 or a Series X at this point. I was always going to put it off anyway, because nothing that was coming out bar Cyberpunk really had my attention, had me sort of fixated on it. But now I know it is coming to Stadia, and it is coming on the 19th. I don't care. Like, I can wait a couple of years if I need to for PS5. Like, I don't need to. I just want to be straight in on my phone, literally as I go, wherever I want, playing Cyberpunk, because I cannot wait to eat this shit up. I'm so excited for it now. So excited. How about you, Richie?
My hype level's weird because I think it's been a game that's just been in the narrative for so long. It's almost been over-marketed, in my opinion. I didn't watch the most recent Night City Wire because I'm sick of them trying to sell this game to me that I have pre-ordered it now. I was just waiting to be able to pre-order it. It's like, you don't need to keep selling me this. Just tell me when it's coming. That's all. The only information I needed is when it's coming to Stadia to make my purchasing decision and where it's going to be, whether it's going to be PS4 Stadia.
Yeah,
I mean, only last thing, and we finally got it. So I think I might now start feeling a bit more hyped as we get towards that November 19th date.
I think you're right, Richie. Now we know, like my hype level, it flipped on a coin as soon as I knew it was coming, and I could make that informed decision to get it day in date with everybody else. I wasn't going to have to look at my friends playing it on my PlayStation friends list and be like, oh man, I could just, if I order this now, I could have it immediately, not instantly, but I could have it fairly soon and play it along with my friends and be part of the narrative. Now I get to do that on the go, anywhere, no downloads, instant. Like, we're going to be playing this way quicker than anybody else, because just like the Baldur's Gate drop last week, it's instant. And the fact that it's such a huge game and we don't have to worry about updates every other couple of weeks, a month is huge.
I'd argue Cyberpunk is the biggest game that's coming out this year.
Yes,
there's other great games. Most of the other great games have been single platform.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying with
cross-platform.
With next gen, it is going to be the launch title for next generation at this point. Like, it is going to be the game that everybody will be very critical of and looking at very deeply. I think it's also worth saying at this point, because we haven't really touched on it, the exposure for Stadia that they get from being directly addressed in a Night City Wire, like in the Cyberpunk
hidden in a stupid Reddit thread or blog post.
They addressed it
prominent,
straight up on screen,
and it was prominent and there for people who are not necessarily just people interested in Stadia, people interested in that game.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's third party, it's huge, it's going to be everywhere, and I think you're right, Tom. They addressed it at the beginning of the video, we've got something for Stadia, and then at the end of the video, it's coming 19th of November, and again, this is where we can see the narrative start to change for things like downloads and updates, because like with Baldur's Gate, the more people, you mentioned last week a couple of YouTubers who were waiting for the download and then got in and played it, people can be streaming this immediately on Stadia, and I think as that future generation of convenience rolls out, I think this is going to be huge, because like I said, it's going to be a massive title. It's going to be probably very evergreen, similar to The Witcher 3. If it's half as successful, people will play this for years to come. And from the scope of it, what I've seen from all these Nightwire videos, it looks like it's going to consume people's lives. They're going to live and breathe Cyberpunk 2077. And I just can't wait to jump in. And my hype levels, Richie, but I think you saying there, now you've pre-ordered it, they can start to rise. I was interested in it, but like you, I've wavered over the last couple of months, because realistically, we could have been playing this for like half a year at this point. And
probably done and moved on.
Maybe, or we could have keep going back to it. But
you know what it is? This game is going to be a huge part of the zeitgeist for winter.
Okay. I mean, it's everywhere. We should also mention, though, that next gen, they haven't confirmed the date for it yet. So everyone playing on Series X and PS5, it will be the backwards compatibility of the... what's the Xbox One called? Why am I blanking on it?
Smart Delivery.
Smart Delivery, yeah. It'll be that version of the game, and then CD Projekt Red are inevitably going to kind of probably repackage and relaunch on the next-gen consoles. But the great thing with us in Stadia is we just always have the best version that CD Projekt Red put out. Obviously, it may not be next-gen specific, but...
The best version that can be on Stadia at the moment.
Yeah.
And that was going to lead me to another point then, which is trying to be a little bit like look at this more through a like less of a rose-tinted lens and a little bit more critical of it. Is what version do we get graphically? I've heard whisperings that it might be around about, like, if you take the PC version, it's probably going to be about the mid to high setting rather than ultra high. I'm absolutely fine with that.
For a games console.
Absolutely fine with that. Like, looking at the video footage and the gameplay I've seen so far, I'm actually super excited based on just what I've seen visually. that's fine. Like I'm happy to take mid to high.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to have everything bells and whistles, ray tracing, and so on.
If you want things like all the bells and whistles, ultra high graphics, ray tracing, buy a PC. Because buy a gaming PC.
Yeah, if that's your concern, you will invest the money to play the optimum performance levels capable. If, like most people, you don't have that sort of cash or that technical prowess or something to set up a gaming rig PC, Stadia, grab a Chromecast Ultra if you want to play on your TV, or play it on your old crappy old Chromebook, and it will run to the best you can get visually.
The bigger question for me would be, is this going to be effectively the PS4 version or the PS5 version of the game?
I think PS4 Pro.
I think
Xbox.
that's going to be... Yeah, I think it's probably going to be that PS4 Pro bracket, the Xbox Series X bracket, not the next gen.
Yeah.
Unless we've got some news potentially coming next week.
Well, yeah, we've got those stories.
But with Stadia at the moment, in terms of technology and how games run, they run absolutely fine, but there's been nothing to kind of like up to the next level. Like nothing feels next gen yet.
Yeah, they're currently above PS4 and Xbox, but they're not. As we know about all the tech spec stuff, but do most people care? I feel like I'm in this camp where games have looked stunning for this entire generation to me. Like, you look at some of the launch games we got, like Killzone Shadowfall for PS4. Yes, it's not the best game story and playable wise, but it looks stunning to this day. Infamous Second Son, The Order 1886 I went back and played at the beginning of lockdown actually, and that game looks more beautiful than half the games that have came out in the last couple of years. So we're at the point now where everything I've seen is Cyberpunk. I am not going to look at probably one element in that game and think, oh, this looks a bit PS2 era, and like, you're not going to get that. It's going to look stunningly visual no matter where or how you play it. And
I've said before as well, the big like graphical market thing at the moment is 4K 60. I think 60, is definitely, you should be hitting 60 frames per second at least. 4K, I think, is massively overrated at the moment. I don't know how many people actually have 4K screens in their house.
I think it's mostly down to the frame rate and the refresh rates of things rather than the actual overall amount of pixel representation on the screen. I'm happy 1080p HD. Just knock it up to 1440p if we need to. We know we've got that on PC in browser, but I'm cool with that.
Exactly. But to wrap this all up in a nice little cyberbore, thank you, Stadia and CD Projekt Red. You're breathtaking. You've done it. You've made it happen. And I think, like you said, Richie, the narrative now going into winter is hugely positive for Stadia. Will we see Cyberpunk on competition like Luna? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But this, I think, is a massive, massive... If they can get the marketing right with this game, it could be huge. If they really, really double down on pushing Cyberpunk, play now, play anywhere, play on all the existing tech you've got, forget buying the expensive console. Again, Tom, you've just mentioned there, pre-orders for PS5 getting pushed back. This is another massive thing. If you want to play arguably the biggest third-party game of the year, you can do it for less than probably 100 quid.
I want to see Stadia posters and the end of bus stops in the UK.
Well, there's no point because no one's allowed outside anyway.
That's true.
What I've said before is Stadia in the gaming industry has become a bit of a meme, and the main focus for me in Stadia needs to be moving away from that, so it just becomes another normal part of gaming. Like, I play on PS4, play on Xbox, I play on Stadia. That's where they need to be focusing and getting to. And this definitely helps us.
100%.
Of course it does.
And like you said, Richie, play wherever makes you the most happy.
Yeah.
And if that place is a hell of a lot cheaper than another console box and a hell of a lot more convenient, then you're in the right place. Next up, I thought this was going to be the biggest news story of the week, this next story, but in comes CD Projekt Red with all their Witcher magic and just blow it all out of the water.
Some of the steampunk dicks around.
Is it steampunk?
I don't think so, no.
That could be
it's
it.
Cyberpunk. It's genuinely
Cyberpunk.
So many neon clothes are going to be bought for this Christmas. But next up, our lovely friends and Stadia's best friends, arguably, over at Ubisoft, just dropped another ton of games on us prior to next week's announcements, which we're also going to get into. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a bevy of games dropping on Stadia. They didn't give us quite dates, but we've got some exciting titles that I've for one played to the max. So first up on the list, we had the original Watch Dogs game, so we know we're getting Watch Dogs Legion. Imminently, it's actually probably 11 days from the time of recording that we'll be able to get our hands on that Ubisoft world of London, post-Brexit, lockdown, everything. But why not delve back into Chicago with one Aidan Pierce, the miserable bastard that was the protagonist from game number one.
You really don't like him, do you?
No, I do like him. He fits in the character and the narrative of that city and that world, but he's just got so much shit over the years for being broody and dark, and the game maybe people I think expected a bit more Grand Theft Auto humour because it's that open world type of game, and it is Ubisoft, but it just rains all the time in Chicago. It's the Windy City for a reason, so it kind of fits the narrative. It's all dark. The underground hacker world. But first up, we're getting Watch Dogs original, OG Watch Dogs. Either interest you, this one? How do you sit with this game and then Legions? So would you be interested to go and play this one first, or start with Legions, work your way back, or is this gone too far?
So I'm sort of glad that Ubisoft is sort of bringing this collection, and we'll touch on it a little bit more in a moment, of their back catalogue games, should we say, bringing it to Stadia. I do, however, feel like I don't have enough time to get Watch Dogs in before Legion, so I do sort of kind of wish this had come a little bit sooner.
Richie?
Yeah,
It's my only negative take.
I'm
on it.
I'm not particularly that interested in Legion right now, purely because of time constraints. I'm not going to have enough time to play all the games I want to play, and unfortunately something had to drop out, and Watch Dogs Legion is the one I'm least interested in of the key games that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I'm the same there, with Valhalla on the horizon as well, and now Cyberpunk. It is just finding that time within an adult life to actually enjoy them and play them. And again, Watch Dogs 1 is a great game for what it is. They also followed that up with Watch Dogs 2. So with Marcus Holloway, I think the protagonist in that is, like I said, yeah. we touched on it a little bit last week. A lot more fun, a lot more vibrant, a lot more colourful, and more in vein of what Legion seems to be. However, it does have one character, whereas in Legion we know you get to play as everybody. So you get to fly down the sunny streets of San Francisco with this one. If I was to recommend someone who was maybe pushed for time, I would probably say start at the second one. With it just being a lot more in tune with what I think Legion is going for in terms of that style and that look. It was a better rounded game. But yeah, we're getting them both. It is a shame that we're not getting them prior to Legion coming out, unfortunately. So then people would have had time to maybe try them out and get a taste for it. Richie?
Although, I don't know, I'm kind of looking at them thinking, could these be pro games for November?
Ooh, that would be pretty big.
Which
not
one,
necessarily,
though?
it doesn't have to be both of them. I think either would work quite nicely as their pro game, especially with Legion coming out. But the timing, I think, would have, with Watch Dogs Legion come out on the 29th of October, it would have made more sense for them to be a pro game for this month.
Yeah. Yes. I think that would have been like, just as you've had a full month to play Watch Dogs 1 or 2, the newest entry is now available second last day of the month.
Yeah, maybe they just weren't ready. I don't know. But it just feels like, especially Watch Dogs 1, because it's quite a bit of all the title. Do you remember when it came out?
The original was 2014, so my guess would this be like 2017-ish, give or take.
16,
and then
17 probably.
So there's probably no real loss to Ubisoft by making, you know what, you can have this as a pro game for maybe November or December, and if anything, it might entice people into buying 2 or Legion.
Yeah, but again, more titles, and more importantly, quality titles coming from Ubisoft. They are doing absolute wonders over there for Stadia and fleshing that library out, which I think definitely gets us onto a talking point we'll touch on once we've gone through the full list, because this isn't all, everybody. We're getting more. If you are a big fan of the Assassin's Creed franchise and everything that came with Assassin's Creed Odyssey, you'll also be thrilled to know they are delving back into the Templar and Assassin catalogue, and they're digging more titles out for us. We'll start off in chronological order. They're giving us Assassin's Creed Unity from way back when. Now, again, Assassin's Creed Unity, I think, was a very underrated game. It got a lot of shit at the time, rightly so, because it was buggy for some people. I just want to say that I played through this full game to completion, no real issues. There was a few like typical game things, but nothing that broke the game in any way, shape or form for me.
Well, this is the point where I actually completely give up on the Assassin's Creed franchise for a while, because I played through two trilogy, which was awesome. 3 was just boring, so I kind of skipped 4. I was looking into getting back into Assassin's Creed with Unity, and I was a PC gamer at the time. Yeah. And every single review I read was, "It's a broken mess. Don't play it." And it felt like it was at the time when like Ubisoft were making it. It was an annual franchise. I always felt rushed to market. And it was like, I tell you what, maybe once you fix the game, I might consider buying it.
Yeah, the one thing with the Assassin's Creed games that always gets me is being a big fan of history. I did history in school and college and stuff, and it was really nice to. I think it's always the location necessarily more than the characters. Like Revolutionary France and the next game we're going to get to as well. They're set in distinct times of our human history that stand out for specific reasons, and they delve in with characters from those eras. I mean, everyone loves Da Vinci in the OG ones, right? Seeing him and his wacky, crazy machines and everything, and how it ties in with the narrative of the story in Renaissance Italy. It does the same thing with this. You're around the French Revolution. You meet people like Napoleon. Paris is beautifully realised. If we remember when the Notre Dame fires happened last year, they used the Unity engine and the scans they'd done of Notre Dame Cathedral to help with the restoration work. So it's so beautifully lived. It's even if you're not a fan of the game, I'd say it's worth it just to explore Paris. If you've ever been or have wanted to go to Paris, it's great for that. Not as a game, just to walk around
Paris has changed quite a bit since the 1700s.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Yeah, it's not quite as scruffy as it's made out, with like shit in the streets and everything. Beheadings going on with a guillotine left, right, and centre.
Oh, that still happens.
That still happens. Weirdly enough, totally off topic. Did you know Christopher Lee was present at the last guillotine beheading in Paris? He was alive and present.
That's a crazy fact, that is.
So, rest in peace, Christopher Lee. Obviously, we lost him last year again, I think. But that fact was so crazy up until like now. Just Christopher Lee of Count Dooku and Saruman fame was alive and present at the last guillotine beheading in France. And when you check it, it only happened in like the 1930s, 40s. So it's actually not that crazy of a stat. I mean, crazy that we were beheading people still at that time, but
we weren't.
We personally weren't. Yeah, we weren't around. But anyway, vive la résistance, as they say. And that moves us on to our neck of the woods. Ubisoft have gone full circle now, because they're also giving us Assassin's Creed Syndicate, which took place in Victorian London, with 2 protagonists. The first game to give us 2 protagonists at the same time. Obviously, Legion's returning to post-Brexit London. Which of those worlds I'd rather live in right now? It's dubious. But gentlemen, did either of you have a chance to check out? Richie, I think you checked out of the franchise completely at this point. But Tom, you got any history with Syndicate?
No, none at all. Wow. I'm actually really excited for. Quite frankly, like I'm just gonna skip ahead a little bit here, Chris. To be honest with you, but we're talking about Ubisoft bringing a huge AAA library to Stadia. Like, yes, okay, they're older titles, but they are, without a doubt, they are AAA franchises.
Oh yes.
I'm not 100% sure how far back I'm going to delve into, but there is one Assassin's Creed title that is yet to be mentioned that I definitely will be playing, because I want to play essentially what's being dubbed as like the Assassin's Creed trilogy of the older world, shall we say, like even further back than.
Some would say the origin.
It was like almost like a soft reboot of the franchise.
Yeah. We'll just get into it, Tom. Let's talk about it, because you're totally right. It's the reimagined reboot of the Assassin's Creed franchise. They took some time off. They came back with almost a Witcher-inspired open world RPG style, and I, for one, loved Assassin's Creed Origins to absolute pieces. And then the follow-up to that, Odyssey, was another sublime game as well, and we've talked about it. We've done a full Let's Play series on the channel. Go check that out. And I think I knew as well, Tom, with the Norse Impact as well. So excited for Valhalla. It's beyond belief, especially with them coming out this week with a 6-hour gameplay walkthrough and showing you the hometown, the hub world, and some of the tweaks they've made to it, but more so them leading into the mythology. And this is where it started for me, with ancient Egypt, talking again about history. I don't know about you, Tom, but I know me and Richie did a lot of like Egyptian history back in, like, you're talking like primary school stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so fun. Everyone loves the Mummy. You remember Brendan Fraser? Remember that wacky, crazy movie?
I remember Brendan Fraser. I do not remember Tom Cruise.
Do you remember the Scorpion King?
Oh, the Scorpion King.
Oh yeah, shout out to Dwayne Johnson. Wow, that was probably one of his first.
Yeah, it will have been. Yeah,
it might have been the first one he starred at.
Yeah.
Are you talking the Scorpion King spin-off movie, or are you talking his terrible CGI cameo at the end of The Mummy Returns?
The spin-off.
Movie. It wasn't that bad actually, as far as like a rock movie goes. Or back then, what a rock movie was. It was just like daft action comedy fun, really. But back to AC Origins, of course, Tom. Yeah. I would recommend if you don't have the time. I know I recommended probably Syndicate and that above all, and the Watchdog games, but I'd say of the full list that we've gotten, if you enjoyed Odyssey and you've not somehow played Origins yet, jumping at the start. It starts well before Assassins and Templars were really established because we're way back in ancient Egypt. Yeah. You've got Julius Caesar, Cleopatra, Anubis warriors. If you do the DLC, highly recommended. Some of the funnest DLC I've played in many, many years. You're talking giant scorpions, Anubis warriors, and in the Valley of the Kings. It's chef's kiss for that.
It's absolutely like the Assassin's Creed title that I never got around to playing, and I still do not own on any platform. So Ubisoft have done me a solid here. I'm definitely going to be picking it up on Stadia. So that's at least one purchase they've got there out of someone.
Cha-ching. Lovely. Richie, I know you kind of waver back and forth with Odyssey and things like that. Does Origins interest you, or are you just thinking this isn't the franchise for you at this point?
All three of these games kind of interest me because I skipped on Unity and Syndicate for technical reasons. So I am intrigued to go back and play through their stories, but it's more of a time. I don't know when I'm going to have time to play these with new games coming out as well.
Yeah, and they are by no means short games.
While I'm glad they're there, I don't know when I'll play.
I'm just running.
Sorry, for audio listeners, Chris is just waving all his games.
I have them all. I saw Lloyd from StadiaCast do it. Just show up and showcase all the ones you've got. And I know we don't have physical media with Stadia, but
hold that sealed book back up.
That one.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
It's the Spartan. Really nice.
The Spartan cover.
Yeah,
Spartan case
for Odyssey. Because this is one of my favourite franchises of all time, and I honestly think they've gone from strength to strength with the Origins reboot. And as someone who's attempted to play through The Witcher several times, and the time consumption, for some reason Assassin's Creed just clicks with me. And I must have over 100 hours in Origins, 120 plus hours. Then Odyssey I played through twice, so
interestingly, it was Origins that got me interested in the franchise again, and that's why I actually bought what do you call it? Odyssey on PlayStation 4, because I kept hearing so much great things about Origins, and then Odyssey came out and it's like, ooh, which one do I buy first? I think I might have asked you, Chris, which one do I go for first, and you went Odysseys. So that's what I went with.
Yeah,
then I didn't initially like it.
Yeah, but they're fantastic games, and it just fleshes out this library of, like you said, Tom, AAA titles. These are, yes, they're older games, but people still play them. And back to my graphical argument, Origins looks gorgeous, like a sun-baked desert with all the kind of the bronze statues and stuff, the Sphinx cat and everything like that. It's the sand dynamics and stuff. Everything just looks stunning. Like in modern games, I have no arguments whatsoever from the graphic fidelity of any.
The idea of having the complete franchise on the platform as well.
Yeah, it's nice when that happens.
We're not quite there. We've still got 4 games.
Yeah,
we need that remastered sort of trilogy, essentially the OG games, just to top it off.
Which 3, 4, and 1.
Yeah, and again, this kind of harks back to, we've not got it as a topic, but Black Flag's a shame they didn't go that little bit further back. But if we're going to talk about all of these games, surely this is just kind of a sign, a beacon to suggest Uplay is getting ever closer. Uplay Plus subscription.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't even touched on the fact that they're bringing bloody Far Cry games to Stadia. So we know we've got 6, but we're getting 5 as well. We're getting New Dawn too, and they are. Again, they are excellent AAA titles. Granted, I've not played. I haven't played them since 4. Far Cry 4 was the last one I played. Am I getting
with these franchises? They're only going back so far. Maybe these are the games that you can just buy directly, and the others will be on Uplay Plus.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because they're not even that old. It's so weird when you look at some of them. Far Cry New Dawn is only 2 years old, if that.
Ubisoft are the kings of releasing consistent content year after year.
sometimes to their own detriment.
Yes. I don't think there is a single publisher out there that has successfully managed what Ubisoft does, which is literally like Assassin's Creed 1 year, the next year, like consistently like that.
I think since the Unity Syndicate days, they've learned the lessons in terms of just pushing everything out to market just to hit these arbitrary deadlines, focus on making good games. But they've got a large network of studios.
Oh yeah, they span the globe with their studios all over the world. But for me, again, what Tom mentioned there, the quality that comes out in them, like, and there is something cookie cutter about it. Don't get me wrong. Like the Far Cry games, they don't really differ that much. You have an arsehole antagonist, and you've got a kind of voiceless main character, and you just kind of go from
an asshole.
You do, yeah. They're always an arsehole. You just kind of go from outpost, clear the area, get the collectibles, do a wacky side mission. Far Cry 5 in particular lets you team up with some bears and wolves. I think you have a giant grizzly bear called Cheeseburger. Just to throw it in, there's like wolves and stuff. It's crazy, wacky fun, and it's nothing that I don't expect.
But it's cookie cutter that works, I need like to add, because it does get sales and it does.
That's why they keep making it
as a franchise.
Yeah, and I think they've done really well with the Far Cry titles in particular. They've started to align them more with an early year release. So for New Dawn, Far Cry 5, and I think even the predecessor was Far Cry Primal, which is another really fun game actually. Very different but very fun. They all came out in like the March, April, beginning of the year when it's generally the quieter season, and I think it's very rare. Like we see a triplet, well, not so much now, but they've found that like kind of right sweet spot for a bigger title to launch.
Ubisoft seem to have a way of doing this thing as well. Okay, here's the game, it's quite serious, like your Assassin's Creed game. But okay, we're going to bring out DLC or a spin-off game, and we're just going to go nuts. Like, solid. We're going to have robot dinosaurs, like firing lasers and shit. Like, let's go nuts.
Not even trying to correct too much, but I think you mentioned March and April there. I actually think it's even earlier than that. I think it's sort of like the mid of February, because the March, April is when the game season sort of really starts to pick up if you think about when Cyberpunk was meant to come out. I think it is like very early on in the year, which is usually described as sort of like the dead zone. It's like if your game comes out, then it's guaranteed to fail.
Yeah.
But like the Far Cry games, I think historically have always come out there and they've always done well. So again, props to Ubisoft.
Yeah.
And now we're getting them on Stadia. Like, you know, for the people who've missed out first time round, here's your chance. Yeah, here's your chance.
They've got a really clever way of, especially with the Far Cry games, where they kind of to not so much annualize them. They've got a bit of shit for it, but when they rehash the map, so like typically, Far Cry New Dawn is essentially it's the same map from Far Cry 5, but they overlay it with like a different skin almost. So Far Cry 5 is more like post-apocalyptic, where there's like they've added like grass and trees have overgrown stuff with like these lovely purple, colourful, bright plantation is everywhere, and it makes it look a bit different. But the game again I always feel the Far Cry map, I never really know where I'm at without looking at the wider world map anyway. I would personally say New Dawn wasn't that great. I enjoyed it, but Far Cry 5, I'd say if you're going to choose one of the two, 5 is the main kind of stepping stone of that franchise, and I'd probably go there first. February 2019 New Dawn came out. Of all those games though, gentlemen, I have the Platinum Trophy on PlayStation in all of them that we've spoke about so far. So I don't think I'll be jumping back into any of them with the time and Cyberpunk and Valhalla and everything else. However, as someone who's not played them before, by all means, get on those titles. There's some great games, and I can highly recommend all of them. The only one on the list that I've not, and we've not touched on yet, is Ghost Recon Wildlands. It's also coming. So we've got what's the current Ghost Recon? I can't even think of the name.
Breakpoint.
That's it. Yeah,
We've got Breakpoint.
So another Tom Clancy title. Wildlands takes place, and I think it's Colombia or somewhere, because I feel like Ubisoft got a bit of a lawsuit against them for making the country look bad. Because what possibly could go on in Colombia that would attract negative attention?
No, we don't talk about any of that.
We don't.
That's how you get headhunted. That's how you get.
But that's the only.
You're on some sort of bounty list.
Yeah, but that's the only franchise of all the Ubisoft titles that I was really interested in. And then when it came out, I think because it required the team of up to 4 people to enjoy it to its full capacity, I kind of just skipped on it. And then same with Breakpoint. It came and it went, and it had some intrigue for me, and then I just kind of ignored it. Like, what's your two take? Would you want to jump in on Stadia with me, or is it just kind of like, it's been and gone now?
I had friends who played, like a group of friends who played the ever-living shit out of that game back when it came out on PS4. And I feel like, again, like I don't want to harp on about the fact that these are older games, but I think, like, particularly with a game that does require multiple people to, you know, to play and really enjoy, I feel like it may have come and gone. It's probably out of the entire list there, the one that I'm least excited about, because there are other Tom Clancy games that I'm way more interested in.
Yeah.
This is not the one.
I'd agree with you there, Tom. And just to correct you, Chris, it's in Bolivia, not Colombia.
Bolivia.
Yeah. So we'll have to correct it next week. And
another South
one
American
of the big
country.
problems that I see all the time in the Facebook group is people complaining about matchmaking with Stadia. I still don't think it has a user base. So although Wildlands isn't an old title by any stretch of the imagination, it's still an older title.
Yeah, it may suffer.
And when people are having problems with current games with matchmaking, this could be another. It could actually be slightly problematic with people trying to jump in, and then suddenly the narrative in the Facebook and Reddit and places like that going, try to play, couldn't get any matchmaking.
Yeah. I mean, the great thing with these titles is you can play them with AI. It doesn't just like leave you on your own in Bolivia with just your gun on your back and a parachute to go. You can use AI. I played, I think it was...
You buy the game, Tom Clancy turns up at your house, chucks you in a suitcase and ships you off to Bolivia, gives you a gun, go.
Yeah, go crazy. But again, more games, like you said, and hopefully just more titles. This is now pushing us on towards Uplay Plus. So we'll put a Tom Clancy ball on that one, gentlemen. We'll move on to our next story because, as we said, it's been a crazy week. So we've got tons and tons of games coming there. We've got so much to talk about still. Let's get into what's upcoming on the horizon this week. So at the time of listening to this podcast, chances are you are currently in the middle or about to see a new Google event kicking off, which they've dubbed as the Stadia Good Stuff. It's going to run from Good stuff. It's going to run from October 20th to the 22nd. So this time of this podcast, probably Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of this week. And I personally would have thought all that Ubisoft news we just spoke about and all the Cyberpunk day and date drop we just spoke about would have been enough to satisfy me for some time. But no, Stadia and the amazing team over there, Chris and Grace and the wider marketing team and everyone else, have clearly got bigger plans because they dropped a tweet this week on the official Stadia Twitter page saying good stuff is coming. We'll be lighting up your week with 3 days of announcements, reveals and other surprises, and if that wasn't enough, we'll have 3 games you can try right away, and it all starts October 20th 9am Pacific time. What so come on, gentlemen, let's hear those Google good stuff
tinfoil
guesses.
hats, should we get our tinfoil hats out?
Right, okay, reservations. I would say don't go too crazy. Tom wearing an actual tinfoil hat. Reservations, I think. I don't even know what to expect from this because, like you said, the news we've just gone through could have fit into these 3 days.
Yeah.
But apparently they've got, it says, announcements, reveals, other surprises, and 3 games to try. Right, yeah.
The fact that 3 days makes me want to go big, but I don't think it's going to be that big. It just feels like we're given 3 days of announcements. Could be conceivably a lot of information.
Yeah. At what point does it say 3 days of can you call it a day of announcements if it ends up being like a blog post or a 10-minute YouTube video? Should it not
Strictly
be like...
speaking, yes. You could do like 2 YouTube videos and a blog post on different days. There's 3 days of announcements.
But to call it
days
of announcements, it's not really. Yeah, I'm expecting a blog post to kickstart things on the Tuesday because we always get a blog post anyway. Well, followed with a couple of YouTube videos, maybe drop sequentially, bang, bang, bang on the YouTube channel.
We know it's kicking off on Stadia's YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's where it's starting. So I'm expecting a blog post, but I don't think that'll be first. I think the blog post may be there to reiterate whatever's in that initial video or live stream or whatever they got planned.
Yeah, to wrap up essentially. So at the end, as soon as the video ends, the blog post will go live.
Kind of just a summary, which is what blog post should be used for.
Well, interestingly though, because if you look at the time of it, October 20th, 9am Pacific time, which actually works at 5pm UK. 5pm is the time that they launched the blog post, so the video goes live the time that the blog should go live. So whether it drops in tandem, whether it drops one, sequentially, but it is the right sort of time. my thoughts on this. The thing I keep focusing on here is we'll have 3 games you can try right away. Try can be interpreted in different ways, surely. Like,
I know what one of them's going to be.
Is it going to be a demo?
One of them's already been announced.
Yes.
Immortals Phoenix Rising was announced to be a playable demo.
Yes.
There's one. So I think these are going to be demos.
I mean, you can't try it if it's not a demo, right? What can you try if it's not a demo?
I mean,
full
you
game.
could try
You get the full game for 24 hours.
And if you don't like it, 2 hours refund.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It could be, it could be like that. Like they've done some really successful free weekends. Maybe they're going to say you could try the full game right now, and we'll offer a discount on it. Who knows?
What would you do if it was Cyberpunk as one of the games you could try?
Cyberpunk demo would be,
I think,
batshit insane.
Is it possible?
I think it's possible.
I honestly think
only a demo.
They've got it to work. So what? We're just short of a month out from it launching, and it's gone gold. We know the game's gone gold, so there is a build that's playable to a set standard done. And again, they don't need to ship the demo. They don't need to download and update. So
I'm guessing it's just going to. And that it'd be a vertical slice, which I imagine is easier if you don't actually have to ship the disc.
Tinfoil hat moment. We had a tweet earlier today as well on the date of recording from the QA lead over at CD Projekt Red as well, saying that last night he managed to play Cyberpunk on his phone using Stadia. So we know it is there. We know there is a testable build on Stadia already.
That sounds like some good stuff to me, Tom.
I was just throwing it out as a bit of a kind of half joke, but now you've just convinced me.
Tinfoil hat's on. I mean, it's possible.
Is it even a tinfoil hat? If we know we're getting it next month, like we're 30 days out from playing this game. So is it that beyond belief? Like to be fair, Immortals is further out. Immortals is December. So if we get a demo for that, I don't think Cyberpunk's out of the question at all now.
Well, I'm assuming Immortals is one of the demos because there's 3 demos and we know these going to be a playable demo.
Can you imagine?
It just fits.
Can you imagine the marketing hype if the demo, an immediately playable demo, is available on Stadia, but there is no demo available on other platforms?
Yeah,
can you imagine the marketing hype like that?
The outrage is going to be so tasty.
Oh, but even then, that outrage should be negated by just saying you can play it on your existing kit. Yeah, go on Stadia.com.
Do you have a Gmail account? Do you have a Gmail account?
Yeah, but you know what people are going to be like.
Yeah, people
I
will
play
be
all my
sold.
games on PlayStation. I can't believe Stadia got a demo. Sony never do exclusives.
Yeah. But this is the best thing about the demo, because if it did drop and it forced people to go, well, I'm a massive fan, I want to play this game, I want to play the demo, I'm now angry because I only have a PS4 and Xbox, right? So try it on your phone.
Yeah,
you have a mobile, right? It's 2020.
Yeah.
Like if you have an old PC, try it on that.
So this is one then. Is like I'm really excited for Cyberpunk. Oh, there's a demo come out. It's only Stadia. Like I'll give Stadia a go, see what it's like.
Yeah, this is what will challenge people's perceptions on Stadia, and have they just wrote it off because it's Stadia and because the news likes to shit on it and there's memes about it, or are they a true gamer and they just want to play the game? If that's the case,
all the people who've
test
only
it out.
Had negative articles about like things like latency, like 9 months ago and stuff like that, and then very little coverage since.
Yeah. I think it could bode really, really well. But speaking of that, then, what do we think the third game could be?
This is a bit.
Else? Is Valhalla to? I mean, Valhalla demo would be amazing.
It's weird because we don't get game demos anymore, so it's hard to
we
actually pick a game. It might be Outcasters.
Square do demos.
True.
Outcasters would be an interesting one because it'd be a showcase of an exclusive game.
Yeah. Because then I think that could be a good shoe in for.
I think
we
it's
know
going to be
Immortals.
something we don't know yet.
We know Immortals is coming. We know Cyberpunk will be huge, but then we've also got this first party game, second party, being designed exclusive for Stadia. So while you're checking out Cyberpunk, check out this other game as well. And then, again, it gives it a more broader range of titles to maybe test out and try over whatever the weekend may look like.
What's the exclusivity on Final Fantasy VII? Is it timed? Because there isn't a demo that already exists for that game. And we know Square play well with Stadia. We've already got 15 on there. A Final Fantasy VII demo, as a part of
Richie,
the
when
launch.
did Final Fantasy VII Remake come out?
It was earlier this year.
It's a timed exclusive for PS4.
It was March.
March.
If it's a 1 year timed exclusive, maybe they drop a demo now, and by it coming March 2021.
That's April 10th, 2021. So it's still it's a time away.
It's a time away.
Yes, but if you want to get people excited for it, like for next year,
I don't
playable. All I'm thinking is that a
Legally.
playable demo actually does already exist.
I don't see it.
It would be cool.
I don't-
I'm gonna say like I want to see more Square. I want to see more Square Enix love on the system,
Yeah.
and I'm not talking about Tomb Raider. Like, I'm deadly serious. I like the Tomb Raider games, but that's not the Square Enix that I personally enjoy, and it's not the Square Enix that I digest.
I want Bravely Default. I want things like
I want their JRPGs.
Octopath. I want the full Final Fantasy collection.
Right. So swinging things back around then to the good stuff. Kumnar writes in with a question from our Patreon page, just like you can, patreon.com/Sounds of Stadia. Give us your thoughts, ideas, questions, and any curiosities you may have. And his thoughts on the good stuff are, he writes in and says, I don't think it'll be about games, otherwise they would have held Cyberpunk and the Ubisoft game announcements until then. Very good point. I'm hoping this is more of a features service event, releasing or announcing dates for things like crowdplay, YouTube streaming, or family sharing. Maybe dates for Uplay Plus, as well as new publishers. Does EA still count as a new publisher? Because we've not seen anything from them just yet. They're still really hyping next week, even after this week, so they must be excited themselves. Maybe a couple of indie announcements, as we have had a few ESRB ratings recently also. So great points there, Kumna. Gentlemen, aside from the Cyberpunk and Ubisoft stuff, obviously they are still hyping this up, even after the fact of all that megaton news that dropped. What do we think in terms of it being a service-based couple of days? So here's a feature day 1, day 2's family sharing, day 3's the UI interface update.
Service-based exclusively, I think, will be quite a bit dry in terms of the content. And I don't think you'd hype it this far for something like that. I think it's got to be balanced, a mixture of games and...
Yeah, you would almost want it the other way around.
Yeah.
You would get the good stuff would have been Cyberpunk and Ubisoft, and last week would have been a blog post about family sharing and crowd
I agree
support.
with Kumna to an extent. I want to hear about these features that we know are coming, that we don't have full dates on and stuff. I want to hear about when they're coming, what's the status and all that sort of stuff. But I'm pretty nerdy in terms of the Stadia content. It's like I'm interested in that side of it. Most people, I think, are just purely interested in the game side of it.
You're absolutely right there. So one thing I was thinking about here, he mentions Uplay Plus and possibly new publishers. Does EA still count? There was a little bit of news this past week as well that you can now link your Stadia account to an EA Play account as well. So we know EA Play is going to be their essential like streaming service as well for their own games and their own titles and so on. So it'd be quite nice to be able to get full support from EA. I know we've been harping on about it for a while. EA still haven't given us dates for those games that they said were coming.
And we're running out of year. What was it, 5 games by the
We
end
are
of the
running
year?
out of
We're currently
year.
on 0, and we're running out of year.
We're running out of rapidly. You are right. We are almost on the cusp of November. So, and if they're going to want to get them out again. I still hold hope we're going to get some kind of Jedi Fallen Order Game of the Year edition. I really, really do, to help drive home that Jedi Fallen Order could be a Game of the Year contender this year. Not that Cyberpunk, The Last of Us, and Ghost of Tsushima or anything like that are going to possibly fight it for that contention. But
I'm going to go... I want to throw another tinfoil hat real quick, though.
put your hat back on before you say it.
Yeah.
You can't say it without wearing the hat. There it is.
Hat's on, right? So, people were saying that if you look at the actual little animation they've put on there, you've got good stuff written with like neon lights, right? Yeah. Here we go. Right. So replicating neon is actually a huge feature of ray tracing.
All right.
Is that a stretch?
Tom, that's not a tinfoil hat. That's like a full jacket, suit, waistcoat, and trousers.
I don't know. I don't think it's that much of a stretch, to be honest, because all the heavy lifting is done on the server end.
Yeah, but
So it's
do you
possible
not
ray
think it
tracing
just looks
is-
cool? That's why.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's a stretch, but ray tracing from the Stadia, I don't necessarily
All right,
think
okay,
is.
yeah. I mean,
Right.
And that would be definitely in the category of good stuff. Like, Oh yeah, by the
let's
way,
be real. Let's be
we've
real.
now got ray tracing.
Let's be real.
HDR support.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Let's just temper expectations, though, okay?
Yeah.
Because if we start like, I could tinfoil hat way too deep into this sort of stuff, but I'm gonna bring it in.
I'm not sure if it's that much of a stretch, considering we're now need to be positioning themselves to go up against PS5 and Xbox Series X.
It seems like the right sort of time. Like we talked about in the last episode, I think. It was the post show before. When does the next Connect need to happen? And I'm pretty sure we said by the end of October, right?
Yeah. So
this sort of feels about the right sort of time.
I mean, yeah, they could open up day one and say, here's a little announcement, here's 3 demos to play, check back tomorrow, same time, 9 a.m, and we'll have a Connect. And then day 3, round out with a few feature updates, maybe. Like, there's got to be something over 3 days to make it worthwhile.
Yeah, I was quietly quite proud of myself because I predicted that there's a small window after the announcements of the launch dates for the Sony Microsoft consoles, and before they actually come out, there's a nice little window in there that Google could take over the narrative.
Yeah.
And then this came out right in the middle of that window. I was like, yes, I called it.
Yeah, and I
have to say, go on.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, I will point out as well, we probably won't have time to delve as much as we want into it because the news has been so crazy this week, but there was the Founders Hub Ask Me Anything with Chris and Grace from Google this week, and there wasn't many details to find out because it was hamstrung with the caveated rule of you can't ask any questions about the future of Stadia or the roadmap of Stadia or games coming to Stadia. So the questions were kind of tied with their hands behind their back to some degree. But Grace did come out this week and mention that as for Stadia's anniversary, stay tuned. So they are aware of something for their first anniversary. They're going to do something. So, yeah, back to what you're saying, Tom.
Yeah, I was going to say, I just hope with 3 days on the line, like you said before, is it just going to be a 10-minute video and a blog post? Because I hope with 3 days, I hope they don't, like you said before, Chris, about like big announcements and so on, then round it out with features and stuff. I sort of want to see the opposite of that. I don't want them to, for lack of a better way of putting it, I don't want them to shoot their load too soon, basically. Well, I think I want to see it sort of hype and build up. I'd like to see it sort of like as a crescendo for the final date, the third day. So the Thursday should be like the, bam, here's the huge stuff that you've really been waiting for. Whereas the Tuesday could be like, let's roll it out just a little bit. Let's just build up the hype. And then, boom.
If you're talking like a traditional like press conference, you kind of want to come out the gate with he's a big thing to get you excited going in. You want to end with that one more thing. And then in the middle, you kind of want to constantly be changing up like the pacing of it. So sometimes he's a deep dive in the game. He's a bit of a sizzle reel of a handful of games. He's some techie stuff. So I think Tuesday could be that middle section. Wednesday,
just as a treat for Richie, we want to see that they have the announcements. Brilliant stuff. They sort of level it out in the middle, and then at the end, here's one more thing. Richie wants to hear, and I'm confirming it right now. Richie, you want to see a black screen. Whee! The 3 lights of Stadia have purchased the rights to Splinter Cell.
No.
That would do it.
You're on Stadia.
No, now you get right. Okay, put your tinfoil gear away, gentlemen. You're getting a bit carried away now, but
I'm just messing.
We'll look forward to it. We will be covering, of course, the Stadia good stuff content as and when it drops. Unfortunately, we don't really know what it looks like, so we may be around for a live stream. But keep subscribed, keep it locked. Follow us on Twitter and all of our social feeds. So you are informed of when and what we are covering when it happens. But more importantly, as we head into this week, I'm just excited. I'm looking forward to seeing what news and stories. Will I be playing Jedi Fallen Order by the end of the week instantly? Will I have a demo for Cyberpunk to play by the end of the week? Imagine following up that launch announcement with you can play it several days later. That's some good stuff right there. So it is a busy week, and it's going to be a busy episode as well because we've got a lot more stuff to cover, gentlemen. So strap in. Off what you were just saying there about marketing, I think we definitely need to touch on something's happened over at Stadia HQ, and this week Grace and Chris, as part of the AMA session in the forum, they did mention that they are the only 2 people part of the community Stadia team. Grace, funnily enough, is actually the community manager for Chromecast as well, so she's dual sighting on different jobs there, picking up those 2 different paychecks to fund our Liverpool obsession. And over on the Chromecast with the Chromecast TV, which we know is getting Stadia early 2021, first half. But in terms of the marketing, they did say there's a whole separate team which deals with Stadia marketing. I think you mentioned it last week, Tom. has something just changed all of a sudden? Because their social output, their online ads, they've ramped it up. So we've got 2 videos to start off with. One, they initially kicked things off with an advert which is called Getting to Know Stadia, which starts with actually the Google search engine, and someone types in what is Stadia, and then they go off into like a breakdown of it's just games, there's no downloads, there's no update, play with your tech. Tom, what do you think of this switch up in marketing presence and the direct messaging they're really getting out there now?
I think it's definitely marketing that should have existed at the start of last year, to be honest with you. But this is on point. This is the counter. In my opinion, this is the counter marketing to Amazon Luna's initial release and their sort of like take on how to approach it. I think people have been listening to
Sounds of Stadia podcast.
The Sounds of Stadia podcast. And several other podcasts out there. And also, in general, like, without trying to put a label on it, I think feedback has been given and feedback has been taken, and there has been some sort of communication. It's clear. Like, that is a bloody good advert.
Yeah,
it's better than the original one with that guy who looks like a Sega advert from the 90s.
Yeah, I don't even know what the point was. It was just trying to be so quirky, and it just didn't work. Yeah. But this is clear. It is very to the point, and in my opinion, it generates some hype about it. Like it does say, like, boom, here you go, your favorite games.
Yeah, it almost replicated what the Luna initial launch advert did, which was just try and showcase how seamless you can jump from device to device to device with some very clever cutscenes of there's a PC, there's a tablet, there's your phone, there's a laptop, bounce, bounce, bounce. And then now we're at a point where the trailers, I think, can really start to showcase like current games, especially. It does lend really well to the narrative, but they went into using controllers. They showcased different controllers. They reaffirmed that no downloads, no updates, no installs. And I think when that message starts to really land with people, that's when they're like, oh, so it's not just Netflix of gaming. It's something bigger than that. And they did keep the pro subscription stuff separate. They showcased YouTube integration a little bit more. And I think, again, now the narrative's changing towards bigger titles and they're hitting the ground with these ads. It's simple to the message, and we've been saying for months now that the marketing just isn't up to snuff with what the actual product is, and I'm so happy to just finally see it. Seems like something's shifted. There's been a dynamic shift, and they get it. They get how to market the product now.
Well, I think over the last year they've got a huge amount of data, and marketing's been one of the most talked about, most critical points. Like the marketing, quite frankly, has been crap for the large part. So, and people have been critical of that. We've been critical because we like the platform. We want to see it do well. I touched on earlier, still hearing a lot of people having problems with matchmaking. That comes down to not enough people on the platform. So we want more people on the platform. So we want them to get the marketing right.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said for it. They also did follow up with a second ad, which is the What It Takes ad. And that kickstarts with Cyberpunk. And then it just goes into this crazy powerhouse of showing all the big titles. It shows off Jedi Fallen Order. It shows Cyberpunk. And more importantly, it shows people playing the games. It's crazy what it goes through. Immortals, Phoenix Rising, Far Cry 6, Hitman 3, all these big titles that are coming up that PlayStation, Xbox and PC are going to be pushing themselves. You can play it on Stadia with the existing kit. And this is what leads me back into our previous topic about the good stuff. They showcased a lot of games in this ad that are not out yet. Now, I don't know how I feel about showcasing stuff that's not available yet. Like, how much of advertising is far unknown in the future that you can actually use it as part of your marketing, which is what leads me to think that the good stuff could quite actually be a lot of stuff we're seeing here in these ads.
Yeah. I think it's fine if you've got dates on it.
But we don't.
Yeah.
No. It's again
Jedi Fallen Order, yeah.
We want it. Give it to us. Give it to me now.
It's okay, Tom. It's coming.
It's coming soon. Hashtag. Mark. But, like you said, Tom, showcasing Star Wars. We know how big of a brand Star Wars is. Showing that's available, and then my worry would be someone would see that advert, go, oh, apparently it's instant. Stadia.com, click. I can't find it. Scroll. Where's Jedi Fallen Order? Scroll. Where's obviously Cyberpunk's not out yet, but if you get what I mean, so there could be a kind of like mini negative impact from that, where someone does go to check it out and go, oh, I was lied to. Never mind, I didn't buy any console, so I've not lost any money. I'm out.
I think we might be a little overcritical there because even like things like the PlayStation, Sony, and Nintendo marketing kind of does the same thing.
But do they
It
not
shows
have
you
dates?
games that are already there. Not on everything. You always do see games that have been announced, but that are just like kind of in the coming soon window.
I'd say PlayStation and Xbox, everything they put on a YouTube ad or a market has a date. Like, you never see an advert that says coming Christmas, do you? I mean, they probably do. Again, we're getting into the weeds of it all now.
Yeah.
But back to the kind of the good stuff. That particular advert, what it takes, leads us into our next topic, and that is Waka Waka, gentlemen. Did we see a sneaky little Pacman in that advert there? Are our friends over at Bandai Namco about to drop it? And then even the official Twitter account followed it up with, "We see you, Stadia," and then that sideways eye emoji. Gentlemen, any guesses at what Pac-Man game we're getting? Is it a new one? Is it an old one? Is Pac-Man even really changed in the last 3 decades?
Well, looking at the very, very
screenshot
image, brief screenshot, it's a classic Pac-Man board, but it seems to be linking to other classic Pac-Man boards.
Yeah, it's going to be their version of Super Bomberman R Online. It's going to be a Pac-Man battle royale.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Send ghosts to the other guys.
You collect your pellets, you get the ghosts, send the ghosts to other screens. Absolutely. Last one standing.
I mean,
Waka Waka.
I, like most people, I'm a fan of Pac-Man. I remember playing it in the arcade back in the day. I remember having it on my Game Boy. The fun usually runs out quite quick for me. Once I start to hit that like difficulty cap, it's just the same stuff repeated over and over again.
Terrible at it.
And if anyone's not checked out that high score on Netflix yet, they spend an whole episode saying about Pac-Man when it was in the arcades. Everybody loved it, and especially Miss Pac-Man. But then they saw the tail off of people playing the game once it hit a difficulty spike, or they understood the rhythm, the routine, and they could just basically complete it. And that's when the guys went out and made like separate chipboards and sold them on the black market essentially to upgrade it, Hackman, and they upgraded it to a whole new level with new games and features, which then they went to court over and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think we could get a battle royale game. It's so interesting that it leaked on a Stadia. Like, is this only on Stadia kind of deal? Like, did they not vet that advert and go, Pac-Man's in this ad and it's not out or announced yet?
The Pac-Man official Twitter responded saying, "We see you at Google Stadia, so this is planned."
You think?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's outright. It's outright. It's just a marketing ploy. It was meant to be an Easter egg, but we clocked it and they acknowledge it. That's what I think it is. I don't. It's great.
I think it's as an Easter egg. I think it's one of them. They put it out there. Let's see who notices it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
People are going to notice it, and the people are going to talk about it, and then, probably next week we might get the announcement regarding it.
Oh well, Pac-Man. Coming guaranteed to Stadia now. I'd like to see it be an exclusive or a time exclusive, similar to Bomberman R Online, where it's just, Stadia's there, try it, play it, get crazy with it, Waka Waka, all that kind of stuff.
I kind of like seeing these older games get a new breath of life by changing up the format and how they play. Like, we've had like Tetris 99, we've now got Bomberman, Pac-Man's coming in some way, shape or form. Yeah,
classic retro point-based high-score games lend themselves quite well to, I think, a battle royale without being your typical PUBG battle royale. I think just versing other people at the exact same time does add a fun, different element to it.
We're just waiting for Asteroids now, or Snake.
Yeah, certainly.
Maybe that's Worm Game. Maybe that's the Worm game.
Oh my god, I forgot about Worm
Battle
Game.
Royale Worm Game.
That's what we should have asked in the AMA. Where's Worm Game?
Yeah, where's Worm Game?
That's the good stuff.
We missed a treat.
Jen, that's the good stuff. Yeah. They announced Worm Game as a free-to-try game on the Tuesday. Worm Game DLC roadmap season pass announced the second day, and then the third day is a sequel announced to Worm Game, which Worm Game 2 coming to Stadia in the future. That's what Shannon Studstill is working on. That is a AAA title. It's Worm Game.
Fantastic.
From Stadia. But aside from Pac-Man, we actually did get an announcement as a Ubisoft press release. We're getting Family Feud on Stadia as well, part of the Hasbro Ubisoft acquirement that happened. Also in the UK, known as Family Fortune. So our survey says we're getting this on Stadia. This doesn't interest me at all. It's just a daft family game. I haven't watched Family Fortunes or Feud in a long, long time. I think I see a couple of memes about the American one from time to time, just because who's the host of the American one? I forget his name. Is it No, I want to say Harvey, but is it Harvey? Either way, he's the guy who messed up on the Miss America thing and he awarded the winner to the wrong person and then had to backtrack and give it to the second runner-up.
Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey. That's I got half of his name right. Although it doesn't look like Steve Harvey is the host in the screenshot that we've been given for the game, so he's
Generic
been replaced.
host.
Generic host 101.
See, Chris, you might not be interested in this, but these are the kind of games that I like to sit down in a holiday or so on with my family and just like whack it on the TV and we pass the controller around. We have a bit of a laugh. This is the kind of thing I do want to see on Stadia personally. It's not for everyone, I get it, like these family party games and so on, and they usually do charge a decent whack for something like this. But
I'd like to see
a
game like this, almost like Sony's PlayLink, so everyone can just pull out the phone out the pocket.
Yeah.
Rather than connecting controllers.
Well, that's what I thought about the Jackbox series of games as well. But we did have a confirmation quite some time ago saying that Jackbox wouldn't be coming to Stadia, which is unfortunate because I think it would be excellent once again.
Yeah. Hey, even something like Monopoly, being able to just control through your phone rather than have to pass the controller around would make that game a little bit more seamless.
Yeah, it's a lot of family games, so I think it just needs to be optimized for Stadia maybe a little bit more because you've got your touchscreen, you've got your phone, but then we need family share realistically as well for this to be a thing. And can you send a click to play link to someone who doesn't have a Stadia app and still just boot it up in maybe like a Chrome browser to play along as like a guest account maybe? Something they'll probably no doubt look at, but yeah, our survey says we'll be getting this game on Stadia soon. My guess is every kind of Hasbro, Ubisoft acquirement will just move over gradually. We've got Uno now, we've got Monopoly. I'm trying to think what other games the Ubisoft really dabble in. Board games. Risk.
I don't know.
Risk's a good one. Yeah. I had Risk on PlayStation 3. That was interesting. We've got Worms coming soon, hopefully as well. Not that it's the same, but Team 17, get it out. Speaking of games with updates, we got a final October update from Square Enix. Tom used to talk very highly about wanting some Square Enix games. We've got Marvel's Avengers with some updated features. Richie, you'll be happy to hear they are integrating a ping system into it soon. They are also allowing us as part of the next update to play through your campaign once again with your superheroes level and higher gear intact, so you don't have to reset to square one. Different things with visibility, high contact mode, being able to see heroes in multiplayer. I know sometimes we've lost each other a couple of times where we've just been over the other end of the map and we have no clue where we're at for reference points. Some more mission clarity regarding rewards at the war table, so it's going to be clearer what missions give you what and what gear you get from certain parts. And in terms of future content, they have delayed the Kate Bishop operation outside of October, so probably just mid-November, late November, maybe sometime. They clearly need a bit more time to polish that off, which then ties into future Hawkeye content. So again, I think everything's just been knocked on the pipeline a bit, but they have came out and also said that the next-gen version of Avengers, so PS5 and Xbox Series X, is going to be pushed back into 2021. So again, playing on Stadia, that's great because we just don't have to worry about the update, we'll just get it when it comes. And as a sign of appreciation, they've also came out and they're going to give you a ton of credits, units, upgrade modules, DNA keys, all of the kind of grindy loot stuff you look for in that game, as a thank you for everyone. Although,
yay.
Sorry? Yay.
Yay.
Yay. Aside from all that, I jumped in last night and there is another hub. There is a Shield base now open, where you can go to, and Maria Hill is there. And aside from, Richie, I think our bugbear, I don't know about you, Tom, so far has been to get your daily missions, you need to go to the anthill, speak to that woman, then you need to go to the helicarrier, go up to the second floor, speak to that woman. If you now go to the outpost, the Shield outpost, there is little computers where you can actually just log in and you can tick off all the daily missions from one outpost rather than bounce from each one. Look, again, it's a game as a service. They're going to constantly add stuff. It's a bit disappointing the storyline stuff isn't coming a little bit later, but I'm just grinding away. Benefits of Stadia, like I said last week, I just jump on, chip away for an hour or so, get my gear, get my loot. Go.
All this stuff is good, but hasn't addressed my major issue with the game is I don't really get the purpose of just grinding out my character levels or anything. It doesn't feel like it's adding any more content. All it seems to do is I'm playing through the same handful of maps, slightly rearranged through the same sort of tasks with higher level enemies. So I've kind of just...
That is the end game. That's the end game for most things like Destiny and stuff. It's in Division. It's
not
like one...
really. I think that's a bit unfair because things like Destiny have things like actual raids where you have to plan and you build a team to go specific
but at
things.
the end of
It's
the day,
just
you are
very
still just hitting
generic.
different enemies, right? It's just called a raid, and it's got a time frame and a big boss.
Yeah,
like, it's
I don't know. I
still-
just
it's
think
still the same. I
they
would say
need
anyway.
they need to add some more.
Well, that's the content, right? That's the Kate Bishop, the Hawkeye. That's
Yeah.
like your sequential story stuff. And then we know there's new maps coming. We've got a new outpost this week. I just think, like, as the games have said, now the campaign's done. The reality is that is the game. It's grinding to get to that level cap and getting the best loot and equipping your hero to the highest ability to jump in with your friend. I don't think there's much more game aside from that afterwards. But it depends on what you're looking for in it. Like me playing an hour or so every night, that's kind of like it's scratching that itch. What about you, Tom? Are you still playing?
A little bit. I need to sit down. I want to play some with Holly because she's bought the game but hasn't had too much of a chance to play through it. The issue we've got is loading up 2 instances of Stadia here at the moment doesn't quite work for us.
That bad internet.
I suppose I could play it on my mobile.
Have you got no internet, Tom? Is that what you're saying? Richie, wink, wink.
Oh, hey!
So-
for audio listeners, you need to go check it out.
Yeah, so as a point, Richie said at pre-show before we start recording this, should I just start the show by revealing my t-shirt? Here we are, 1 hour 16 into it, and he's not revealed his t-shirt
Wait,
yet.
that hasn't been a good segue.
Well, there you go then. No internet, unfortunately, stops all instances of Stadia play.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great to see that's a sporting. I think it's going to be an evergreen title. The reality is, my interest in Avengers is going to waver once Cyberpunk and all Valhalla and all these big titles come up. But I'm hoping the story content they are going to drip feed us over the course of next year, like inevitably next spring when they go Wakanda Outpost, Wakanda Levels, Black Panther's available now, or we've got Falcon and Winter Soldier tying in with the maybe Disney Plus series dropping. Anything like that, I think that is the stuff that's going to get me back in and go, you know what, I'll give it a go. But we'll see. Time will tell. Time will tell. Doctor Strange, time will tell. Using the Time Stone. What does he do? What's that hand thing he does? Is it that? Ooh. Whatever that is. Anyway, it's been a busy week of crazy Stadia news. A few little touch points we will mention before we wrap up. Chris Tales has been delivered. I'm sorry, my namesake game. I'm working on it. It's only me, independent studio and all that. It's been delayed, pushed back till early 2021. So we'll see it on Stadia eventually. But I don't really mind because the bevy of games we are honestly getting now, I think anything that's probably thinking about launching by the end of this year, you might want to just take a step back into January, February time when it is a bit quieter. Especially if you're not a AAA massive game. Just step aside. Let the freight train roll on through. That is Cyberpunk and Assassin's Creed and FIFA and everything. Where's FIFA? That's some good stuff I'd like to see this week.
Very true.
A couple of things. Tom, I'll throw it over to you. Borderlands 3 is getting a Season Pass 2, so it looks like they are going to continue supporting Borderlands 3 for the foreseeable with another second year of content. Does this tickle you in any way, shape or form, or are you kind of like, have you moved on a bit now from Borderlands?
To be honest with you, the fact that they're adding new skill trees is kind of nice because I think the one thing that's made Borderlands quite stale is lack of new characters or lack of new content. Like, yes, okay, they're adding new story content, but the DLC stuff usually is relatively short-lived and it doesn't add too much longevity. So that's decent. I really would like, and they've never done it for another Borderlands game before, but I'd really like to see them add a new character, like as a playable character. I think that would be pretty cool because, again, we've talked about in the past before that Borderlands 3 is sort of like lost its touch because the characters are kind of forgettable, in my opinion, compared to historic. So I'm undecided at this point as to whether I'm going to get the pass.
Interesting. And final point then, Dead by Daylight, final story of the week, has now cross progression with PC. So we knew this was coming. Steam plays. You can now save across both platforms, which I saw some people on the internet bemoaning the fact that PS4 and Xbox didn't have it, and it's like, okay, go for it. Like, unlucky.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what more to say to that.
Too bad, son.
Dead by Daylight, we're going to be doing some of that for Halloween, right?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Because Halloween is so close, so near yet so far. Spooky, spooky time. But like all things in the world of Halloween, they have to die, just like this podcast episode. Just a morbid end on it there. That's it for the news this week. It's been a crazy, crazy busy week. thank you for tuning in to episode 56 of the Sounds of Stadia podcast. Remember, if you like the show, give us a like down below. If you don't like the show, give us a like anyway. Why not? It's only YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you are kept in the loop with all of our news stories, and more importantly, any of the good stuff that we are bringing you this week, alongside the Stadia good stuff. Myself, Chris, Tom and Richie will also be bringing you some kind of content, no doubt. And stop by on Thursday as well, where we do a weekly community stream. Don't know what it might be yet, depending on Tuesday's announcement. It could be a fun new game, it could be Avengers, it could be anything. Let us know, write into us. Tell us what it could be. A demo. Could be a demo. It could be FIFA. Could be. But thank you everyone for your support. As always, don't forget, if you want to write into the show, support us a little bit further, head over to patreon.com/Sounds of Stadia. For as little as 79 pence or $1, you can write into the show with your questions, chat to us over on Discord, and play with us as well in the future as part of our community streams. Thank you to everyone watching so far. My name's been Chris.
I'm very impressed that we managed to get through all of this today.
I'm Richie.
And we've been Sounds of Stadia. Have a great week and enjoy the good stuff, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
The good shit.